Shalom, Kal Halalim, La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachakudash. Double honors to the apostles of the Great Millstone, who I learned this truth from, and salutations and blessings unto the hopeful elect. Coming back once again through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachakudash. This is a video dealing with natural health. I used to do these series, and I thought I'd get back into them through the spirit. This was something that I actually kind of went through a small situation, and I just wanted to show the power of these medicines that we have, and we have to, especially since the apostles, from years ago, they instilled going green and going into the herbs and into nutrition and showing us different things. So this is Ecclesiasticus 38. I'll go straight to the point, verse 4. It says, "The Lord hath created medicines out of the earth, and he that is wise will not abhor them. Was not the water made sweet with wood, that the virtue thereof might be known? He hath given men skill, that he might be honored in his marvelous works. With such doth he heal men, and taketh away their pains." So you go to Esau to get your pain taken away, and you really subconsciously worship this man's system. That's what it means. A part of it means in the book of Revelation 13, right? There's a few other ones, but where it mentions, they worship the beast and the image of the beast. Part of the image is what? This man's medicine system, right? So you take Tylenol, Advil, ibuprofen, or you go to Tylenol 1 or 2, which destroys your liver, but you don't know that there's natural remedies for pain. There's a herb called wild lettuce, right? Not the kind of lettuce that you go into your supermarket or your grocery store to get. It's a herb, right? There's a Latin name, but you can look it up. Just type in the herb called wild lettuce. And this herb is a painkiller. And it's actually how it works. It works exactly like morphine. It has the exact same effects as morphine, but the crazy part about it is it's not morphine. Esau, he wants to patent everything and quantify things and understand. But the Most High, he made natural healings for the body. But anyway, back here it says, verse 8, "Of such doth the apothecary make a confection." Right, apothecaries were people that made ointments and oils and different salves, and they had like a clinic, they had a small shop, right? It says, "My son, in thy sickness be not negligent, but pray unto the Lord, and he will make thee whole." Right, above everything is prayer. Above everything, above the herbs, above your knowledge and your understanding in these herbs and nutrition, is praying to the Lord, to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, to take away your pain. But anyway, I had exactly, I believe 1 week ago, a small cut. Wasn't small. It was small, but it wasn't like a little slice. It was deep in the flesh, and it was with a real knife. It just cut, as you see here, the middle of my finger. This was a week ago, opened, right? This thing was opened up. You could see pretty much in there, and it's closed up now. I couldn't really train or work out. I still trained and worked out, but I couldn't do certain things because I couldn't make a full fist. And it's not so much of the pain, it's I didn't want the wound to keep opening. But anyway, I'm going to show you something that really I used right away, and I kept using it. Consistency and frequency, that's the key to natural healing. You got to use it consistently and frequently. You can't just, okay, I'm going to use it 4 times today and then skip tomorrow and the next day, and then the intensity comes back. It's consistency, right? But there's some things you can get very plainly easy, and there's some things you might have to look for. But anyway, I have 3 things that they're very good for any kind of open wound. So as soon as you have a gash, you're supposed to obviously disinfect it. You can use things like hydrogen peroxide. It's very good, better than rubbing alcohol. And there's other natural ones. You brothers know, brothers know a bunch of things, but I know hydrogen peroxide to be a good one. If you heat up honey as well, raw honey, not to the point where it melts or boils, but just where it's warm. You can apply that as well, because that's an antibiotic, and that actually turns when it's heated. It turns, and when it's interacting with the wound, the cut, it's the same as hydrogen peroxide basically. So you clean your wound, you make sure there's no more bleeding, because I had to put pressure because it was leaking, right? It was leaking, so I had to put pressure on it, make sure it's not bleeding. And as soon as it's clean, there's no dirt around, or you disinfected it naturally, good, in a good way. You can apply this thing here. This is the first thing I would recommend if you can find this. This is called dragon's blood. This is actually something I've had for 5 years. It's about a quarter left. But that's I've been using it here and there. This is from the Amazon, right? It's called sangre de grado, or some people call it sangre de drago. And basically means dragon's blood, right? That's what the Spaniards, when they came to the land of Asher, right? Mainly the Amazon, they found this dragon's blood. And it's a resin that when you cut a certain tree, it actually comes out. And it's literally red. You can see the stains here, but this thing is literally red. When I push it out, I'm not going to push it out because it leaks and it's going to stain anything that it comes in contact with. But this is a resin which solidifies. And I'll tell you a quick story. Actually, one of my demons I used to deal with. One time she was in the kitchen. I was upstairs. She was cooking. And she was cutting up vegetables, and there was a sharp knife, and I heard like not a scream, but maybe like a small scream, but not like a like ah. It was like a shock, So I heard it. I came downstairs, and this woman was leaking like a lot of blood, man. Like I didn't exactly freak out, because I'm not that kind of person. I kind of digest things later, so I kind of go into action. I mean, unless it was like maybe the arm off, then, I never seen some shit like that. But if, it was leaking, it was bleeding. So at first we went to the sink and we applied pressure again to stop the bleeding. The first thing I got out, man, before even cleaning it, like the first thing, because I had this was like 4 years ago probably. And this was the same bottle, man. I'm not kidding you. Actually, this was the same friggin' bottle. It was bleeding, and then we put pressure for about 5 minutes, right? And it was a deep cut, man. It went to the nerves, it went into the flesh. Her finger wasn't like half her finger was off, but it was like a quarter. It was cut in deep. It was a pretty bad cut. So I put this in, man. I started dropping this, and like I said, these are drops. They're not hard, but they're liquidy, and they look like blood. It looks literally like if you put it on, if I just take it out and put it on, you're like, oh man, someone sees that, they're like, it looks like blood, because it has that red texture, right? That red color. It's very vibrant. But this thing, when you look it up and the benefits of it, this is antibacterial, antiviral. There's a bunch of properties here, but mainly what this does is, in the research and in the things you can review and hear about people's stories and research on your own. Basically, this thing, you don't need to get stitches, okay? You're not going to, in the emergency case, I'm talking about just an emergency, right? We're coming into that time for the brothers and sisters out there, right? So we're coming into that time. I'm just giving you some options. And I'm letting you know what I did, right? So this cut was deep. I've dropped a few of those drops in there, right? You can rub it in. Depending on how deep it is, it just went in, to be honest. And then it solidified, and the bleeding stopped, and the healing process started. We wrapped it up, and then the next morning opened it, dropped it in again, close it up, and then you can add different things, right? You can add, but this thing, I'm telling you, if you have this, it's very good. And I used it for myself last week. I put it in my finger right in here, like where I showed with this deep cut. It was a pretty deep cut, and it was bleeding. So this worked. It sealed it up, and it continues the healing process. This is almost like myrrh, right? If brothers know myrrh, right? You have the resin. So this actually turns into a resin, that kind of resin when it dries up. That kind of rock state. You can actually burn it. Some people burn it for incense. This is very good, man. I can't sing enough praises for this thing. This is a medicine that Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Bashim Chakodash created, and them brothers down there, the Masherites down there, they have this knowledge, man. You just cut a tree, and that resin starts bleeding. It looks like the tree's bleeding, and they collect it, and they use it for medicinal purposes, man. Like deep gashes, man, deep wounds. Right? Like I said, you really don't need damn near stitches with this, like depending on how deep. But like I said, like my ex-demon, she was good. She had tingling after, which I gave her some medicine you have to take internally for that, because that's nerves. That means when you cut into the nerves, there's nerve damage, and then even though the tissue reseals it and closes up, the nerves are still broken, and the body got to do that internally now. So there's a thing you take for that as well. So this is the word medicine from 1200s, medical treatment, cure, a cure. You're not allowed to say anything like that according to the FDA and Health Canada protocols. You're not allowed to, there's no word of cure, damn near treat, heal, nothing. But what does the word medicine mean? See, it means healing, cure. Also, early 14th century, substance used in treatment of a disease, medicinal potion or plaster. So what is that plaster? A plaster can be herbal compress, or you can make a herbal like a plaster that goes over the whole body, or not the whole body, certain parts of the body, whatever part of the body that you need treated. Also used figuratively of spiritual remedies. So when you talk about, when you're a child and you hear your mother or somebody go, "Oh, take your medicine," that's just poison, man. That's just witchcraft. That's actually witchcraft. That's not medicine. It has nothing to do with healing, right? Medicine. "Oh, take your medicine." I'm taking my medicine, doctor's medicine. That's nothing but giving you a bunch of other symptoms for them to give you more medicine to keep you hooked, man, for life. Okay, so like I said, man, if you can get this from Amazon. This is where I got it from. I believe you can still get it. So in emergency case, you should have this. This is amazing. Like I said, I know I'm kind of flaunting it, but like I said, it helped me in real situations. Anyway, keep moving on. Lavender, this was the first thing that you've seen in the video. Lavender essential oil. So essential oils are very good, but you got to make sure when you get essential oils that it tells you things like this: 100% pure, undiluted, right? It tells you where it's from, the country, and at the back, it should 110% always show you the Latin name, right? So it says 100% pure lavender, beautiful. Now in brackets, it says Lavandula officinalis, oil undiluted. What does that mean? That goes into, really goes into this beast system coming from Rome. But all these plants, they're botanicals. They have a Latin name. And a lot of things in the so-called health, natural health system, they sell you a lot of unpure things. And you might not know if it's diluted or undiluted, even though it tells you 100% pure, this, that. You need to know you need to have the Latin name, which type, because there's different types of lavender. So I showed you this one, Officinalis, because this is the main one that's used for this purpose of wound healing, right? So this is it was formerly known as Officinalis, but they changed it to this right here. So that's something for you to know as well. But As you see here, it says this type is used for inflammatory conditions, skin infections, wounds, cuts, grazes, rashes, itching, stress-related eczema, nervous psoriasis, sunburn, burns, muscular cramp, headache, migraine, insomnia, nervousness-related conditions, acne, pimples, insect bites, so things with the skin. And this is very good for wounds. So after I use the dragon's blood to make sure it's really closed up a few times, then I'll also, at the same time, you can use this, the lavender. The lavender you can use at the same time because the lavender also is an antibiotic, is a natural antibiotic, and it's very good on open wounds as well, just for the healing of the skin, disinfecting, tissue healing. But make sure this is it's the right type of lavender, because like I said, there's no the healthcare, the natural so-called health system, or these natural products, these supplements, they're not regulated, and that's done on purpose. And lastly, there's another one if you can get, because this is very pricey. The one I have here is a 3%, but this is Helicrisium Essential Oil, right? It's a 3% dilution, which is still good. Here has the Latin name Helicrisium Italicum. So I have the 100% upstairs, but it's a small bottle. It's a 5 milliliter. It's very, very expensive, but like I said, it's worth every drop. This is the Helicrisium. So Helicrisium is the Latin name for a flowering plant, meaning immortal or everlasting. It grows wild in the Mediterranean region of southern Europe. Very beautiful smell. I must say it's a very, very, very beautiful smell. Back in the ancient world, you see they made hydrosols, steam distilled, or infusions. They would soak the plants in the oil for a month and then strain it. Now we have a thing called essential oils, which is completely distilled, the pure essence of the oil, which is very strong. So when you use essential oils, all you need, like for this, is one drop. One drop is enough, because this is pure. This is powerful. One drop is a lot of plant matter, actually. So when you see the benefits, let's go to the point of one of the benefits. It says some herbalists say Helicrisium essential oil can be a key ingredient in a holistic first aid kit, which is true. I can vouch for that, because they believe the oil is useful in treatment for burns, ear infections, inflammation in the kidney, and wounds. So I've also used the pure one. So if you have a diluted one like this is in jojoba oil. I wouldn't put this on an open wound. I would use this if you have a bruise, any kind of diluted one. I would use it on a bruise, maybe on a rash is good, but never on an open wound, because it has carrier oil, which is the jojoba oil, which any kind of jojoba, grapeseed, almond oil, olive oil, you should never put on an open wound, because that goes straight in your bloodstream, and there's different effects with that. So if it's an essential oil, again, when you read about essential oils, you'll also stumble across warnings and different things about, never use it undiluted, meaning they want you to put a drop or two of this in, say, a teaspoon or tablespoon of grapeseed, almond, olive oil, etc., to dilute it, because it is strong. For different purposes, that is true, but for this purpose of wounds, these essential oils such as lavender and Helicrisium, you may use on an open wound undiluted, because like I said, you need to delve deeper. Esau hides things, and he's not going to tell you, you can use it, because it took me years to finally stumble upon the information, because I never used it undiluted. I always diluted it for every kind of application, which is not wrong. But like I said, you can accelerate your healing process, so why not do it? So Helicrisium, when you look at this website here, this is a National Library of Medicine. All right. Very, very good website for real, so-called studies and whatnot. So this is formulation and evaluation of Helicrisium essential oil based topical formulation for wound healing in diabetic rats. So basically what they found, the results, 46 components identified in the Helicrisium Essential Oil represent 98% of the total essential oil composition, and many of these compounds are present in trace amounts. So these different compounds, sesquiterpene and these other ones, right down here, here, the wound contraction, this is the point. After 7-day topical administration, wound healing contraction in rats treated with the Helicrisium ointment and gel were found to be statistically significantly higher when compared to control and vehicle groups. Simple. The gel and ointment with incorporated essential oil were found to be most effective with wound healing contraction of 42 and 39% respectively. The results after 14 days, 2 weeks application were similar. The highest percent reduction of wound was in groups treated with essential oil, both in gel and ointment groups, with contractions of 84 and 82%. And these kinds of, and look at these wounds first of all, right? These are not little wounds. So after 1 week, it's 42% contraction, healing, it closes, right? After 2 weeks, it's about 84 to 83. And these are the wounds, right? But like I said, this is not just to show the so-called studies. Like I said, man, I was using this a few times a day, and it works very well, right? It works very, very well, man. So if you can get this, get it. Make sure it's 100% because there's a lot of fake ones. Make sure the Latin name's there. Make sure it's undiluted, 100% pure, you know. And yeah, these things can be used for emergency cases that you may need it for, you know, especially the times we're heading into, and that's why I'm doing this lesson. Okay, so I hope you're edified, and I hope you learned something. If any, questions or anything like that, drop them in the comment board. I want to say Kal Halalim, La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rechakodash. Double honors unto the apostles of Great Millstone, who rule well, who I learned this truth from, and salutations and blessings unto the hopeful elect. Shalom.